What if I told you that one of the most powerful forces shaping human behavior isn't money, isn't power, isn't fear, and isn't even happiness? Instead, it's something far simpler, something invisible, something you cannot touch, something you cannot hold in your hands. Yet people spend years, sometimes entire lifetimes, chasing it. Recognition, approval, validation. The feeling that someone sees us, understands us, appreciates us, and says, "You matter." Think about it. A child finishes a drawing and immediately runs to show it to their parents. Not because they want to sell the drawing, not because they expect a reward, but because they want to hear, "That's amazing." A student studies hard for an exam, not only for the grade, but for the praise that might come with it. An employee works late into the night, puts in extra effort, takes on more responsibility, and secretly hopes someone notices. A musician performs in front of a crowd and waits for applause. A creator uploads a video online, then repeatedly checks the views, the likes, the comments, the reactions, waiting for proof that somebody cared. But why? Why does recognition feel so important? Why can a compliment brighten our entire day, while a criticism can stay in our minds for weeks? Why do humans care so deeply about what other people think? And why do even successful, wealthy, famous, and admired individuals often continue searching for validation? Tonight, we are exploring one of the most fascinating aspects of human psychology, a story involving evolution, survival, identity, belonging, self-worth, and the ancient social instincts hidden inside every human brain. This is the story of why humans seek recognition from others. To understand this behavior, we must travel far back in time, long before cities, long before schools, long before companies, long before social media. Imagine living 50,000 years ago. Humans survived in small tribes, groups of perhaps 20, 30, or 50 people.
In those environments, survival depended heavily on cooperation. Humans were not the strongest animals. We were not the fastest. We were not the most dangerous. What made us successful was our ability to work together, to share resources, to protect one another, to build relationships. And because of that, being accepted by the group was extremely important. If your tribe trusted you, you gained protection, support, food, opportunities. But if your tribe rejected you, life became far more dangerous. In some situations, rejection could mean isolation, and isolation could mean death. As a result, the human brain evolved to care deeply about social acceptance. We became highly sensitive to how others viewed us. Recognition wasn't simply pleasant, it was valuable. It signaled that we belonged. And even though modern life looks very different, our brains still carry those ancient instincts. Part of us still wants reassurance that we are accepted, that we matter, that we belong. This is one reason why recognition feels so powerful. But the story becomes even more interesting, because the brain doesn't just appreciate recognition, it rewards it. When someone praises us, acknowledges our effort, or expresses admiration, the brain activates reward systems associated with positive emotions and motivation. One of the key players is dopamine. Dopamine is often associated with reward and motivation. It helps reinforce behaviors that the brain considers valuable. When recognition arrives, the brain treats it as meaningful, something worth pursuing again. Imagine a child receiving applause after performing on stage. The feeling is exciting, memorable, powerful. Naturally, they want to experience it again. The same thing happens with athletes, artists, employees, students, entrepreneurs, and content creators. Recognition becomes emotionally rewarding, and because it feels rewarding, people continue seeking it. But recognition isn't only about pleasure. It also helps us understand who we are. Think about how much of your identity developed through interactions with other people. When children grow up, they learn about themselves through feedback. If they're consistently told they are creative, they begin to see themselves as creative. If they're praised for being kind, they start identifying as kind. If they're encouraged for being intelligent, they develop confidence in their abilities. In many ways, other people act as mirrors that reflect information back to us, helping us build a sense of identity. And because of that, recognition feels important. It helps answer a fundamental question: who am I? But there is another side to this story, a more complicated side. Because the desire for recognition can sometimes become dependence. Imagine someone who only feels valuable when receiving praise, only feels successful when receiving approval, only feels confident when receiving attention. Now imagine what happens when that attention disappears. Suddenly, their sense of self begins to weaken. Because their self-worth was built entirely on external validation. This challenge has become especially visible in the age of social media. Never before in human history has recognition been so measurable. Likes, followers, views, comments, shares, numbers everywhere. And human beings naturally pay attention to numbers. The problem is that these numbers can slowly become substitutes for self-worth. A person posts a photo, then waits. If the post receives attention, they feel successful. If it doesn't, they may feel disappointed, even though nothing about their actual value as a human being has changed. The numbers changed, not the person. Yet the emotional impact can feel very real. Because social media transforms recognition into something visible, something quantifiable, something we can compare. And comparison often fuels the desire for even more validation. There is another reason humans seek recognition: security. When people respect us, value us, and appreciate us, we feel safer within our social environment. We feel connected, accepted, included, and belonging is one of the most fundamental human needs. Research consistently shows that social rejection can be surprisingly painful. In fact, the brain often processes social rejection in ways that resemble physical pain. This helps explain why criticism can hurt so much, why embarrassment feels intense, why exclusion feels uncomfortable. Because deep inside, the human brain still treats social connection as something essential, something worth protecting. Yet as people grow older, many begin to discover an important truth. Seeking approval from everyone is impossible. No matter how talented you are, someone will criticize you. No matter how successful you become, someone will think you could do better. No matter how kind you are, someone may misunderstand you. Humans have different values, different expectations, different opinions, different perspectives. And because of that, universal approval simply does not exist. Eventually, many people realize something profound. Recognition from others feels wonderful, but it cannot be the sole foundation of self-worth. Because if your value depends entirely on the opinions of others, then your happiness remains in their hands, not yours. Perhaps this is the most important lesson hidden inside all of this. There is nothing wrong with wanting recognition, nothing wrong with wanting appreciation, nothing wrong with feeling proud when someone notices your effort. These desires are deeply human. They are connected to our history, our psychology, our social nature. But problems begin when external validation becomes our only source of value. Because other people do not see the entire story. They do not see every sacrifice, every struggle, every setback, every quiet victory, every difficult decision. They only see fragments, while you live the full experience. So the next time you feel disappointed because your effort went unnoticed, remember this. Not everything valuable receives applause. Not every act of kindness is recognized. Not every achievement is celebrated. And yet, those things still matter. Because in the end, your value is not determined by how many people acknowledge you. Your value is not measured by likes or followers or praise or applause. Your value exists long before any of those things appear. And perhaps one of the greatest signs of maturity is not learning how to stop enjoying recognition, but learning how to believe in your own worth, even when recognition never arrives. Because recognition from others can feel wonderful, but recognition from yourself is often far more powerful and far more lasting. And perhaps that is the kind of validation worth building a life around.